As we continue to think about Jesus' story, today we revisit this idea of Jesus' salvation. What does it actually mean when we talk about the fact that Jesus brought us salvation? As we thought about this question, we studied Thomas's story. Thomas, the disciple, sometimes best known as a doubter, although that's quite unfair because he did so many other things. But we find this word that comes, this Thomas the doubter, comes because of that unique story. That story where you have 10 of the disciples, there's now 11, Judas is gone, there's 11 remaining, but Thomas is not there. Jesus comes and visits the 10. And Thomas misses out on that for whatever reason. And then the disciples go to Thomas and tell him this amazing story that Jesus is now alive, and he doesn't believe it. He says, I have to have tangible proof. I have to know what this is for myself. I have to know that this is true. And so he doubts. He lacks belief. As you think about this story again, I want you to think about what was going on in Thomas's mind. Why do you think he so doubted? Why do you think he didn't grasp this? Obviously, one of the answers to that question is it's the impossible story to believe. Although it's true, we can't imagine it actually being true, that Jesus rose from the dead. That's a hard thing to believe if we don't have the faith. But I think there's more there. What else do you think caused Thomas to doubt? And then move on to the next question, which is so important, and think about and discuss what does it mean to see Thomas now believing? What drove him to that, and why do you think he actually came to the point of calling Jesus my Lord and my God, that he bows and worships him as his God? Think about the implications there. Now I want you to think about times that you have doubted. What are those things that you did doubt, now you believe? What are those things that you still doubt? Think about those doubts that you struggle with, and think about how you can overcome those doubts. Who can you talk to about those doubts? How can you go to the Lord and ask for him to help you overcome those doubts? And this leads us to the idea that we focused on in the message, and that is of the peace of Christ. The peace of Christ. Christ spoke about it. People heard about it. Paul wrote about it. This idea of the peace of Christ. And think about those times that you've experienced this peace of Christ. The Bible talks about that peace being unexplainable. It passes understanding. And so think about ways that you have, without really understanding why, experience the peace of Christ, and then experience that and share it with others. And so in that light, as we close this out, the peace of Christ be with you.